Welcome to your online coffee break, where we discuss bite-sized topics that inspire, educate, and entertain. Here's your host, a software innovator, award-winning marketer, and astronomy and space buff, Chuck Fields.
Hello, thanks for joining me today for your online coffee break. Today I'd like to welcome my special guest, Angela Predhomme. Angela is a singer-songwriter who makes laid-back, positive, soulful music. Her songs have been heard by millions through television, film, and streaming channels. Her music was in popular Hallmark movie, Christmas on Honeysuckle Lane, Lifetime's hit show, Dance Moms, Freeform's Switched at Birth, as well as commercials for Fiat and ING Bank. Angela joins us today to discuss her incredible music and her newest album, Love.
Online coffee break.
Angela, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Chuck.
My pleasure. Now, I'm having one of those days. You ever had one of those days where, I don't know, everybody's in your way, all the lights are red, should have stayed in bed, and you just feel like you need
a hug, right?
You need a hug, a tender touch, a little lovey-dove when it gets too much. Makes you want to sing like a bird and buzz like a bee. Puts a grin on your face like a chimpanzee. Like the spin of the earth, just slow down. And you can't quite keep your feet on the ground. When you need to feel that rush, you need a hug.
That is such a great song. I love Hug. I'm loving your new album, Love. What an appropriate name. It's fantastic.
Thanks.
No problem. Now, I understand you're obviously from Michigan, and I understand that your music passion began at sort of a young age with your grandmother's piano. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, sure. Well, when I was a kid, my grandmother moved from a house into a condo, and we got her piano, and I was like older elementary school. I was probably, fourth, fifth grade. Mm-hmm. And I just started kind of plinking around on it. And then I started sort of sounding things out. And then, my parents got me some real lessons, and then I just, fell in love and never stopped.
See, that's fantastic. And now, you had a variety of music inspirations growing up. Can you tell us, like, who inspires you the most?
Well, my tastes, what makes me feel something is just music that's melodic or soulful. I always, when I was little, I would hear the Beatles and things like that. And I love that kind of music, and I like music that's melodic. Probably most of the stuff that was on pop radio through the 70s. And then my parents, listened to, a variety of things. And my dad was kind of into this old school R&B and doo-wop kind of music. And so, really music is music. And I love the classical music that I started playing on the piano too when I was a kid. It just, as long as it has feeling, then I love it,
See, I think that's so cool. And I love how you say melodic too, because that's one description I think when I hear your songs. I wish I could sing. I can't really sing, but I still try to sing along in my car. These tunes just stay with you, and they're just so, I don't know, they just encompass you, and they feel like you just want to sing along to your music. I just love that.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's really a focus is I want to have good melodies, and I'll just get a little thing in my head, when I'm driving or something, and then I sing it into my phone, and then I make a song out of it, But
Wow.
usually the melody comes first to me. Sometimes I'll have an idea, but then the melodies just sort of come from who knows where, some mystical source, and it's amazing, and I'm even in awe of it. But I hear a melody, and it's like, okay, that's great, and how can I tweak it? How can I, and then I sort of just develop things from there. But
see, I think that's great. I've always wondered, where does that creative spark come from? So for you, it's sort of the melody. You hear that, and then, what do you do? Do you sit down and just try to emulate it on piano, or do you sing along? How do you go from that initial spark to this awesome completed music that you end up with?
Well, that's a good question. This is my fifth album, and a lot of my earlier albums, sometimes I would write on guitar because I also play acoustic guitar. But I found that guitar is better for me, anyways, for rhythm-based stuff. I can rhythm is fun to strum a rhythm and stuff, but for really crafting melodic kind of things, I kind of go to the piano because then I can write chord changes easier. Do you play an instrument?
I do not. I played a little bit of piano when I was younger, but just nothing comparable to anything remotely to what you do.
Oh, okay. So I prefer to kind of write on the piano, and really I develop the chords and the melody and the words, and then I kind of figure out how I want to execute it. I mean, sometimes, like there's a song in there called Hey, Mr. Sunshine.
Mr. Sunshine, won't you turn your love my way? You've been holding back your shining all these gloomy days, but I need you, and I need you back to stay.
I wrote that on the piano, and I had the melody and the words and everything, and we ended up not even having piano in the final recording, because it just didn't need it. I have some kind of organ in the background holding the chords, and then it's sort of a guitar feature. And then the bass and the drums are holding the rhythm, so it's like we didn't even put the piano in there. So how it's produced in the end can be really not related to how I initially came up with it.
Yeah, and that's such a great song too, because you're right. It's to me, it sort of has that blues feel to it. Just kind of slow and just kind of pulls you in. It's awesome.
It's kind of my version of a modern, of a jazz standard. It kind of has this old school composing style that sort of jazz standards, but bluesy, and there's just something that feels warm and comfortable about it. About the song. So
it does. And one thing if I understand this right, is you didn't initially pursue music as a career when you were younger. What happened that made you decide to become a professional?
It's funny. Whenever I kind of thought, this is too hard and it's too competitive, and what am I thinking? Hardly anybody makes it. So something really cool would happen. It's like one of the first songs. I swear, this is crazy. Like the second song I ever wrote got bought, like all the rights was purchased by this LA company. And it was an opportunity. Awesome. I had applied for something. It's like, this place, it's like the company that does the Ellen show was looking for original music. And so I submitted mine, and then they chose it and they wanted it. And it was literally the second song I ever wrote in my life. And this was like in 2007.
Wow.
So things like that. It's like when I kind of felt like, maybe this is a big waste of my time, and then something awesome would happen, so then I just did it more and more, and I kind of thought, well, it's my path is kind of just opening up before me, and I felt like I was sort of meant to do that.
I've always wondered. I sometimes think just really, really good people who are really exceptional at what they do. Like you're a great musician, a great singer, great songwriter.
Oh, thanks.
And I wonder if we ever have sort of the perfectionist bar where the bar is still not where we want to be, but my gosh, you look and you start realizing that, hey, your stuff is in demand. You're really good at what you do. And do you think there's that sort of the epiphany that goes off saying, I don't think I'm where I want to be yet, but boy, this is actually just a wonderful gift that you have.
Oh, thanks. I mean, for anybody, they don't, go from nothing to really successful. I mean, everybody, takes time to develop. At a conference, I was listening to the A&R person that was working with Ariana Grande before she broke out as a recording artist. And, she was like a TV star for a kid show, but they worked with her for 2 years, before they put out her album. So, I mean, everybody, if you're developing yourself, or if you are one of those, few people who have a record company developing them, I mean, it all is a process. Everybody gets better. If you listen to anybody's first album, they're never as good as they are now. So.
That's true. Now, I think one thing too that's interesting about your career is you mentioned, you submitted your song for the Ellen, I believe, and you've also had, I guess, you've gotten your music on some pretty amazing TV shows, movies, and even commercials. How did that sort of happen?
Oh, through very little doing of mine.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, so with the film and licensing thing, film and TV licensing, it's really about the fit. So there's these people called music supervisors, and their job is to find the exact right music. Like last night I was watching an episode of The Crown, and it was based in the late 60s, and what was going on with the plot line, and then they had like Aretha Franklin's Respect playing. So
nice.
It was with the period, and it totally went with the theme of the show. So it's not that easy to find those things. So music supervisors are really very good at what they do, because it's like a needle in a haystack,
Yeah.
So it just so happened that these songs that I had were a really good fit, for the need, for what they were looking for. And I did have them out there. I mean, I send my music to libraries, like there's music libraries that are searchable.
Yeah.
So people are so I have to put in all the meta tagging and all the keywords. And so then, then they find it, and if if the lyrics are right, if it's a sound that they feel would be good to represent their brand, like my music is very kind of wholesome, and
Yeah.
there's not too much edgy about it, so it worked for the Hallmark movie.
Sure.
Because Hallmark, it seemed to work with their branding, and it had bells at the beginning of what was for the Hallmark Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So
was that
so it was
Christmas
like,
on
okay,
Honeysuckle Lane? Was that the
yeah,
name?
yeah. So there was bells, and it was a happy little song, and it just sounded right for their needs.
Yeah.
So it's just all about that fit, and it's because my music is in these libraries, and it was searchable, and they found it. It's not like I knew anybody. It's not like I was pitching it,
Angela, I think it's amazing. I understand recently you passed 500,000 downloads on your Pandora station. Is that right?
Yeah. So
Wow.
over 500,000 people have,
Wow.
listened to my music on Pandora, and that's great. I'm thrilled about that.
That, again, just is a testimony of how good your music is. And, your recent album, Love, again, you said your 5th album, and I'm just wondering, you seem to have so many wonderful hits and varieties. How do you stay so creative without getting burnt out? It's just amazing. How do you do that?
Well, I think the key to not getting burnt out is to not put too much on yourself. In Nashville, there are people that are, have a contract for songwriting, and they're, expected to just write every day,
Yeah.
like full time. And I think I would get burned out in that kind of situation. I mean, I need some space. I don't sit down and write every single day. I mean, I'll be working on a song, and I might come back to it every day. But I think to give yourself the time and the space, and really, brilliance doesn't come from pressure. You know what I mean? At least for me. For me, it doesn't. Maybe for some people it does. But so I'm doing it out of love. I'm doing it out of passion. I'm not doing it because there's some record label breathing down my throat to produce, So I'm doing it on my own time, on my own terms, and that's why it works for me anyways.
Oh, and it does work. And I want to talk about a couple of the songs from your album. One of them I really like. I love the message behind it, but it's called The Always Okay. And I just love it. I think it's, it got sort of a reggae feel to it.
Yeah.
And I'm never one for politics. I always hate going that direction, but I understand that's sort of a background for what's behind the song. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about what is Always Okay about.
Walk out in the rain, just grateful for the day. See beyond the drama, always unafraid. Still love who I am when people cut me down. Keep my head so clear with chaos all around, and be always okay.
Well, that was a song that it's kind of a personal goal of mine, like a life goal that I'm working toward is, and everybody would benefit from this, obviously, is that no matter what is going on around you, nobody can bring you down. So that's what that song is about. It's like, because there's all this political drama and,
Right.
I mean, it gets exhausting, on
Yes.
either side. And, so, and then even like friends and family and people, I've seen like, issues there. But, so it's just like, I am going to feel okay no matter if I click on social media and everybody's like complaining and everybody's fear mongering or, whatever the
Right.
issue is, I mean, we could all be freaked out about coronavirus,
Yes.
or we could try to have a good day, So it's really about just like maintaining your center, feeling okay, like taking a deep breath and just, the first line is about, of the chorus is like walk out in the rain, just grateful for the day. So
Yes.
it's like, you're not going to let the rain, you're not going to wallow in misery about it. It's like, I'm just, what, it's a good day. I'm fine. I'm grateful for this day. So it's just about feeling okay in any situation, not letting those people who can irritate you, not letting them irritate you, just being okay.
See, and I love that. And this can sound corny, but I swear my blood pressure has dropped at least 10 points ever since I started listening to your album.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
like
just
wonderful.
all the songs, they just seem to be relaxing and they have great messages behind them. And another one I love, a very happy song, Sweet Delectable You.
You, ooh, sweet delectable you, who came sweeping in just like you knew we were meant to unite. Is this really happening, or am I swirling through a dream? I can't believe it's happening, 'cause it's so good, it's surreal.
Oh, yeah, I like that one too.
Tell me about that one. What was the inspiration behind that one?
So I had been doing a cover of what is that song called? The Mama Cat. Oh, Dream a Little Dream of Me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I love it. I just love it. I love to do a cover of it. I love it. It's so fun. It's cute. So that was actually written in the 30s, and then it was
Oh.
covered by Mama Cass. So I love the style. Okay. So it's this melodic sort of jazz inspired style. And so I kind of wanted to write my own version. So Sweet Delectable You is inspired by the style of Dream a Little Dream of Me.
Ah, okay.
And so, it's happy, it's cute. I mean, it's a simple, happy love song that's sweet. But it has these sort of 1930s elements and things like that. Kind of like the Beatles When I'm 64,
Yeah.
without a clarinet,
Right.
But it's melodic and it's happy and it's sing-songy and it's just nice,
Oh, it's wonderful. Now,
Oh, thanks.
obviously, all these wonderful songs, a lot of inspiring musicians out there. They might be listening to this right now. What advice would you give to those who are interested in, they have a music passion, they're not sure what to do with it? What should they do?
My advice is to follow your true self. Don't try to be something you're not. It's always tempting. It's so tempting. It's like, I follow certain music industry events. Sometimes I go to conferences and, the music industry will try to pull you into what's popular right now. And it's like, so I've heard it said that you can be an innovator or an imitator. And I would say, do your own thing. Don't be an imitator, because there's probably tons of people trying to imitate, Billie Eilish right now.
Mm-hmm.
But who was she trying to imitate? Nobody. So,
Right.
and people compared me a lot to Nora Jones, but I never
Yeah.
tried to copy her though,
Sure.
she's more jazz than I am. I'm kind of more pop soul kind of thing. But anyways, yeah, I would say that, people will have the most success when they follow what they truly love and who they really are. Like I don't try to write country and market myself to the country market because you know what? I grew up outside of Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
country, I never listened to country growing up. I listened to rock and roll. There's some darn good rock stations in Detroit. And
Sure.
so I listened to rock and pop, and country just wasn't in my schema. So it's not who I am, and I don't try to be something I'm not. So I think people will have the most success if they just try to be who they really are. And if it doesn't fit into a neat category, who cares? It's art.
Oh, Angela, that is such great advice. That's so important.
Well, thanks.
What's next for you? What's coming up?
Oh, well, thanks for asking.
Sure.
So what's coming up for me is I am working on some new songs. I'm recording some new songs that are a little more stripped down, and it's kind of, more carried by the vocal, and they might be just simple vocal guitar tracks or vocal piano tracks, but it's really a focus on the vocals and the lyrics, and so yeah, that's what I'm working on, is just writing some new songs, writing and recording. I just started recording and I'm still in the writing process. And so that's fun. And I'll probably get out. I'll probably do some summer festivals and some more touring. And I'll probably start to book that here in the spring.
Excellent. Well, Angela, we can't wait. Meanwhile, our viewers and listeners out there can go find out more about you and your tour at your website. I believe it's AngelaPredhomme.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you know what? My name is just crazy horrible to spell. The last name is Predhomme. It's like the name Prudhomme, but it's Predhomme. So nobody will ever get it by listening.
I'll put a link in the notes for this, so you can just click on the link and find it. But Angela,
Okay.
I want to just wish you the best of continued success. I want to thank you for taking time to join us today. Really do appreciate it.
Oh, well, thanks so much. Yeah, and I love what you do too, Chuck. I mean, it seems like you're just doing your own thing, like you're not following a model. It's a unique idea and it's your own thing, and that's great.
Wow, thank you. I've never had anyone say that back to me. Thank you so much. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, I couldn't concur with your advice. You've got to just pick your own style. You know what that is, feel it, and don't go into that mold. And that's where creativity starts, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wonderful. Angela, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Online coffee break.
Wow, I really enjoyed my conversation with Angela today. Hope you did too. And I'm loving her new album, Love. It's fantastic. If you'd like to learn out more about Angela, just go to her website at AngelaPredhomme.com. That's AngelaPredhomme.com. I want to thank Angela for joining us today. I want to thank you for joining us as well. If you like today's topic, just give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, or like us on your favorite podcast application. We'd also love it if you'd share this episode with a friend. Thanks again for taking time to join us today. We certainly appreciate it. We'll see you next time. God bless.